And get Skyjack late night tonight on Movie 5.
Live from Cleveland's 24-hour news source, this is Eyewitness News Sports Sunday with Bob Stevens, Neb Chandler, and the Eyewitness News team.
Good evening, everybody. A very close and wise friend of mine once told me that life was really nothing but a series of experiences, and the ones that don't kill you make you better. After what we've all been through the last few weeks, we're going to be awfully good someday, aren't we? Coming up, we will highlight and lowlight the Browns' 7th straight loss with one of the few Browns who had a fairly good day. Tony Blaylock will join us live. Doug Deacon will remind us that this is all just a game with his favorite stadium game. We will update you on the Cavs' next move now that Mark Price won't be moving for a long, long time. And we'll preview a week when the Indians could make themselves a little bit better for next year. Or they might not. We will also ask for your help in solving the problems for all these teams. But first, another bad day on the lakefront for the Browns. If there was still any slim hope of a playoff spot, it became a mathematical impossibility today. And a lot of the blame, frankly, has to go to a defense that sent 5 guys to the Pro Bowl a year ago in front of the smallest stadium crowd in 5 years, about 62,000. Some of them not too happy with who they were. The defense teased us for a while, stopping Cleveland Gary on this 3rd down play at the goal line, but then on 4th and 1, Jimmy Everett will pitch it to Pete Holohan for a touchdown, and it was the first of 4 touchdown passes to backs and tight ends that killed the Browns. 10-3 early in the second, then 17-3 when Everett hits Gaston Green out of the backfield wide open for 16 yards and a score. It was 17-3 at the half and 24-3 when the Browns finally will answer the wake-up call. Bernie Kosar to Webster Slaughter, a 17-yard touchdown that cuts the lead to 24-10 with 6.5 minutes left in the third. Still plenty of time, but 3 minutes later, the Rams answered right back. Everett to Robert Del Pino. Again, a back out of the backfield, 31-10 in favor of the Rams. But the Browns come right back. Great series right here as Kosar flips it to Kevin Mack, who had 7 catches for 78 yards. Bernie on the day, 23 for 39 for 281 yards and no interceptions. Watch this catch by Reggie Langhorne coming up right here. The Browns on a great drive that really does get them back into the game right at the tail end of the 3rd quarter. Langhorne with the catch that sets up this touchdown pass of 3 yards to Mack on the last play of the 3rd quarter. It's only 31-17. Do you believe in miracles? Well, maybe the old Browns would have done it. Not this year's team. Everett marches his Rams right back down the field. He was 22 of 29 for 261 yards and 4 TDs. Buford McGee, another back of the backfield, wide open, and it's 38-17. And it was left for Bernie to make left-handed passes to try to march the team down the field. Kevin Mack just had a marvelous game. Bernie better than he has been in a while, but in the end, the team Jim Schaffner said would not lose again did, 38-23.
All I'm saying about intensity is that I don't know where else to look. I mean, you know, obviously we could design a better game plan and what have you from both sides of the ball, but when you make that many yards, there's something wrong with the level of intensity that we play with. And I don't even know who to criticize. I'm criticizing myself as much as anybody else.
They came out with a lot of different looks. They tried to confuse us. Maybe it did for some, and others it didn't. And as it looked in the first half, we weren't all on the same page, and that's where you run into difficulties.
There was a couple new twists that we tried to put in. You know, of course, Cleveland's forte is man-to-man coverage, and we liked some of our matchups that we had. And they were trying to blitz. They were trying to change up their types of things, and we caught them at the right time at the right place.
We just missed assignments. We were very prepared for this football game, and just a couple of guys missed some assignments, and that's why the guy was so wide open.
I think it's evident today the way Kevin Mack played again. Langhorne, Brennan, Slaughter, that type of personality and that competitiveness, and that's what's gotten us this far over the last 5 or 6 years, and that's what winning football teams are all about, is that type of fight, that type of competitiveness, and I really hope that everybody else could see and learn from that, because it's definitely not there as much as it should be.
Now, we spent a few minutes in the Rams locker room this afternoon. We'd almost forgotten how the winner reacts to a game like this. One thing we did find out was that Kevin Mack's reputation is really spreading.
He's a hard-head runner. I tell you what, I respect Kevin Mack wholeheartedly. And, you know, Kevin Mack is going to get his. He's going to get his. I mean, we try to contain him, but Kevin Mack's going to get his yardage.
Kevin Mack certainly did. Joining us tonight, along with Professor Jeff Sindelar, is Browns cornerback Tony Blaylock, a guy who, boy, had a tough battle today with all-pros like Ellard and Flipper Anderson, and you kind of neutralized them, but you couldn't take away all their weapons today, could you?
Oh, not at all. Basically, our game plan coming into the game was trying to maintain those two guys. And when we tried to do that, they just beat us to death with the backs coming out of the backfield.
That's a tough thing to take away all those guys. You wonder how this team's had any trouble. They come in here, they played pretty well today. You wonder why they've struggled, because their defense has struggled, I guess. But their offense has got a lot of weapons, don't they?
Oh, they have so many weapons. With Gas and Green coming out the backfield, as you know. Then they have some excellent tight ends that hurt us a little bit going across the middle. And with the receiving core that they have and the rhythm passes that they have, they're really hard to contain.
Raymond Claiborne talked about missed assignments today. Were there a lot of them in the secondary? Or whose fault is it when those backs are getting the ball out of the backfield a lot? Is that a secondary problem, or more of a linebacker problem, or a combination of the two? Or, you know, explain to us.
Well, I think it was a combination, really, of missed assignments along with not really expecting them to do that, because during film study they didn't have any plays really where the back was coming out of the backfield catching the ball. It was more or less them trying to get the ball deep. So we really weren't prepared for any of the backs coming out of the backfield.
Sounds like something they should have been doing weeks ago, huh, Jeff?
Anthony, this has been a tough year for the defensive backfield. You've had all kinds of injuries and nicks and problems, and Minifield here, Minifield not here. Claiborne's played pretty well, and the safeties have been here, although Felix held out and didn't get up to snuff. Give us a little bit of a microcosm of what it's like when the thing is really scrambled eggs back there because of nicks, injuries. You don't know who's going to play from one week to the next, and it's really difficult to prepare.
Well, yeah, this is true. I can go back to the Saints game when Minifield came into the game, and it was his first start, and we had a big miscommunication, and the guy was wide open for, you know, a touchdown pass. And earlier, when I was playing with Stephen Braggs, we were playing it a certain way, and then when Minifield came to camp, it was just more or less we didn't have the timing together. So it's a lot of little things that, you know, we can use to say that that's an excuse for the type of season that we're having right now, but you know, we can't really dwell on what's happened in the past. We just got to look to the future.
Was the work ethic better this week after what Michael Dean and Bernie had said in the locker room after last week? Was it a better week? Do you see some positive things happening?
Well, I've been seeing a lot of positive things happen the past 3 weeks. Okay. I mean, the guys' morale hasn't gotten down or anything like that, and I think more or less with anything with losing, it builds character. So I guess you're going to always have somebody pointing the finger and saying, well, you need to study more, you need to do this, but more or less sometimes you need to look at yourself.
But you don't want to have any more character, though, do you? I mean, if you had enough of this character stuff.
Not at all. Whatever can go wrong has, you know, went wrong.
Now you get to run and shoot again this next week from Warren Moon. I mean, it's out of one mess into another. You guys are going down to the Dome. Tell me what you think you're going to see down there. You've seen it once. Tell me about the Dome next week.
The same thing. It's going to attract me. With those guys on the AstroTurf, that makes them like a second or two faster. So, you know, we're going to have our hands full.
But you've got a chance to play spoiler. I mean, you can at least have some fun with these guys and with the Bengals and with the Steelers coming out, and you can mess up some seasons. You can make some guys mad at you when it's all over.
Well, I hope so. You know, every game that I go into, you know, if we're down and we're losing, I always have the attitude, hey, you know, let's do something positive. If we don't do anything, let's at least knock somebody out or something. So that's the type of person I am, you know, especially when you're losing.
There you go.
Beat up on the last team, the last game of the year.
There you go.
I got one real quick question. We go to see Moon again. We had all kinds of problems. How much difference is there in preparation for you as a corner from the run and shoot to the conventional like we saw today?
Well, with the run and shoot, you know, it's more or less, it's more option patterns, because if you're playing the guys inside, they're running all the outside, you know, outs and corner patterns. If you're playing them outside, they're running all the in patterns, the slants, the digs, and, you know, the intermediate routes. So it's really hard to really, you know, play a certain person or to study what they're going to do, because whatever you're doing, they're going to do the opposite. So the only thing you can really do to that is try to mix it up, blitz some, play zone some, and try to get a little bit of pressure on Moon, because he has that quick release with the three-step pass.
Harder for you in the run and shoot than the conventional?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. It's a lot harder for me. A lot harder for me.
Get your track shoes on, then, and good luck next weekend.
That's right.
All right. Now that we've heard from Anthony Blaylock, we want to hear from you. There's the number, 578-1000, about fixing the Browns or the Indians as they begin the winter meetings tomorrow, or the Cavs. An update on life after Mark Price when Sports Sunday continues.
Movie 5, Skyjacked, with Charlton Heston and...